Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on Fantasy Football Scout. Today as usual I'm joined by GIANNI, and this time around is our last Sunday stream of the season, Gianni. Gameweek 38 team selection. How are we getting on?
Yeah, man, very well. Good to be here. Our last Sunday stream is indeed on a Monday, and yeah, it's. I'm looking forward to Game Week 38 for many reasons. I'm looking forward to the season being over. I'm looking forward to that 10 games all at the same time and making that 1 week punt. But I'm also looking forward to the break, as no doubt a lot of managers are. This is a game we all know and love, but at times you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm ready for a refresh now. And if you've been on a bad season, as I have, you want it to end as soon as possible. But shout out to all those that have had amazing seasons and that are still buzzing for the final week.
Yeah, that's a brilliant start. Last Sunday stream on a Monday. But it's been an enjoyable season for sure. I'm sure we'll talk about next season, what we plan on doing. I hope to be back. But yeah, definitely been an interesting season. Like you said, a bit tougher when you're not doing so well. Not doing so well though, still near enough the top 100k for myself, Jenny. I did peak into the top 100k, even though I didn't think it was possible. Still 1 game week to go and half of this one. I mean, it's been an interesting season overall, though. I would say a lot of teams underperforming.
Yeah, you're right. It has. It's definitely been I feel like it's been a season where the template's done really well and it's been really strong, both with popular choices. And when I say template, I don't just mean players. I mean a popular chip strategy. And I don't think I can ever remember a time where the chip strategy has been quite so popular. Like the free hit week back in, was it 34? So something it was the most amount of free hits ever in a game week, and it was because everyone was following the chip strategy, the optimal chip strategy. And if you're on that strategy, I think you probably had a good season. Like and Chai, you obviously played quite differential in terms of your choices, but your chip strategy was very template and rightly so. It was optimal and it worked. If you're like Kieran, FPL Discomfort in the chat, who's using all his chips in the last couple of game weeks, or like me, you committed to a different chip strategy, probably struggled to make up ground. But yeah, it is what it is, and it's always nice to play different. And you got to play the game the way you enjoy it. But yeah, man, all is good, and you getting into top 100k would be amazing. Although we keep recording these before Mo Salah plays, and because you don't have Mo Salah, it could be a very different story. You might be a million miles from 100k in 24 hours time. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it seems to be every single week where I don't own Salah, and that's the case. So I guess
you do well out of it. You do well out of it,
Yeah. It's almost like works out in my favor because I can say what rank I'm at and then forget about it for next week. But yeah, this is the last week.
I own double Wolves this week still to play, and double City. I've got De Bruyne, Gvardiol, 8 Nori, and Cunha, and obviously I've got Salah, like the world and their dog. So yeah, I'm quite excited for the fixtures even this week before we get to 38.
What was your goal at the start of the season, Jenny, rank-wise?
It starts as 10k, it soon goes to 50k, and then it goes to 100. And it was at 100k till a couple of weeks ago, and I really thought there's a chance I might get it if my chip strategy, which was different to everyone else's, came in. And it's not been a bad chip strategy. Like, it's worked and I've gained a little bit of field. It was more just that the template chip strategy blew mine out the water. That free hit 34 was monumental, wasn't it? Everyone on free hit got 100 points. Everyone not on free hit, but still that had a goodish team, got like 40, 50. So you were 50, 60 points down to the field in that 1 week. That was just really, that really killed me, I think.
Yeah, there's been.
But yeah, I think I'm at 430k, but I've got 5-6 players still to play this game week, so I should have a really good green arrow this week. But even if I finish this game week at 300k, it's still going to take one hell of a week to go from 300 to 100 in a week. But the good thing is my team is different. My team is so different that I always have a chance of making those big greens. I have a chance of having those big reds though, and that's what I've been having a lot this season.
Maximus, is the audio too low or too high? Do let us know. Apologies if it is too low. I will turn up. But yeah, I'm currently at 120k. At the start of the season, my goal would have been top 10k as well. Every single season is top 10k. Saying that though, I'm winning a lot of my mini leagues currently. Even though I'm just outside the top 100k again, not too pushed on mini leagues again. I don't. I would much prefer the overall rank personally, even for whatever those mini leagues are for. I find it more enjoyable to look at. I think being in a community where that's probably the most important thing to us as well. Apparently there's an echo on Gianni's side. Levels are lower on Gianni's. Okay, let me up Gianni's audio real quick and hopefully it's a bit better. But yeah, like I was saying, still doing a bit decently in terms of mini leagues. I think the most exciting thing about FPL is probably preseason, and going into that first game week where you don't know who's going to play, because everyone has a different team at the start of the season. I think that's the most important thing. But yeah, actually, I'm really excited, and especially I think we're going to have a busy window in terms of Premier League this time around. We're seeing a lot of big players like KDB leave this season. I feel like we might lose one or two key players this season. I mean, we're definitely going to get a few as well. So let's see what happens.
We're going to get some great additions to the Premier League. Like if Victor Osimhen comes to the Premier League, that'd be amazing. Um, if we get let's say Isak moves to Liverpool, like again that's a very different proposition. If we see Liam Delap at Man United, he might become an asset. Like we're gonna see some really interesting moves. If Arsenal go and sign Gyökeres, or I don't know, we don't know quite what direction every big team's going in, but you can bet your bottom dollar they're all spending. It's going to be a busy transfer market.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, do let us know about the audio. Will we be seeing you at Fest again this time around, Sean? I don't think so. I think I have a holiday planned when that's on. But last year around, for anyone that is listening and is planning on going over, Jenny, I don't know if you're going around. I assume you are. But really, really enjoyable. Yeah, you are, that's what I mean. But you're a busy man. You're in a different country. Yeah, fair. But yeah, no, last year it was deadly. Especially to meet the guys, everyone that was supporting the mad year that was last year. I mean, it was really enjoyable, and to meet people who are consistently in chat, whether it's my own channel or Scout, or chatting shit on X. Good to see faces to names.
Yeah, no, it is. Pretty much everyone is welcome at Fest, other than a handful. So we would love the Scout community to be there. Fantasy Football Scout actually are one of the Fest sponsors as well. So we're delighted to have Scout on board, who have always been sort of a very community-led organisation. So yeah, Festive for those listening will be on Game Week 1 deadline again. So I think it's Friday the 15th off the top of my head when that Game Week 1 first game hits, and it will be a Friday night. And as the deadline, Mark, who's the founder of Scout, obviously will be there. He also set up Fest alongside me and Ed. And yeah, you can get your tickets. There's early bird tickets available for 20 quid. So it's just Google it or search on X, but Fantasy Football Fest or ff-fest.com to get your tickets in London. And yeah, loads of the chat no doubt will be there. If you are coming in the chat, let us know right now. FPL Discomfort, I know you'll be there.
Yeah, I know there's a small bit of controversy that comes with that, Jenny. But yeah, no, I went myself with my own eyes. I saw it. I don't care who you are, you'd have a good time if you enjoy fantasy football, and everyone there is of the same mind. So if you've any interest and you're around, definitely check it out. It is for the first game of the season, Jenny. I'm right saying that, yeah.
Yeah, we Game Week 1 deadline. So it's always been a Friday night. So we've booked the venue for a Friday night. So let's hope the Premier League schedule a Friday night game to kick off the season. In the last 5 seasons, I think they have. So it'd be a bit of a freak if Sky didn't have a TV game on the Friday, and it'd be rubbish for us. But yeah, we're banking on a Friday night deadline again. Should be.
Cool. Okay, so Jenny, on that note, let's move on to my team for Game Week 38. We aren't finished yet. So let me bring you to my team.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this. And also, talk us through what your decisions were last week. What did you do?
So last week I couldn't do a deadline stream because I was studying. But in front of you, I've got my team for this game week. Last week, what I went and done was I brought Eze out, and I brought in Morgan Rogers, who came up with an assist. Not bad, not great. No Ollie Watkins going into the game week. Again, that means I didn't captain them. And in front of you, I've got the wrong team, so let me pull up the right team. I've already spoiled game week 38. But yeah, in front of you, I have the team, and in goal, we started off with Raya, who picked up a 7-pointer. Konsa with a massive 15-pointer. Saliba, who got subbed off. Diaz yet to play. Rogers with an assist. Palmer, who was my captain, who was very disappointing. Mbuemo and De Bruyne, who hasn't played. Chris Wood, Marmouche, and Isaac. On the bench, we got Martinez, who got a clean sheet. Also, Sarr, Byrne, and Munoz, who I doubt will play. 40 points currently. Like I said, 122k I think we're at now. And briefly, when the Villa guys played, we were in the top 100k. Salah's yet to play, which could absolutely kill me. How are we feeling with the City boys going into this game versus Bournemouth, Johnny? They must win, in my opinion.
Yeah, that draw versus Southampton really scuppered their plans for like a coasting in for the end of the season. And the way the other results have gone, I mean, if Newcastle had beaten Arsenal, it would have been really concerning for Man City. But yeah, they need something against Bournemouth, and they're going to need something against Fulham as well. Like that game against Fulham, I thought was going to be a City are safe. We can play the B team. Kevin De Bruyne can go early, whatever. The Fulham lineup for City is going to have to be equally as strong, even if they beat Bournemouth, because of the way the other results have gone. With Forest keep winning, with Chelsea beating United, with Aston Villa keep winning games. So yeah, City have got to go for it. And actually, I'm not overly confident they beat Bournemouth, to be honest. I really wouldn't be surprised if that game is a draw. Like Bournemouth have got a very, very, very slim chance of getting European football next season. But if they win the next 2 games, it could happen. Bournemouth are a team that cause good teams problems, and Man City, you know, they might have that little bit of extra hangover from the FA Cup. Bournemouth will be fresh. They've not played in since forever. And Man City played 3 days ago. So I'm really excited to watch that game on Tuesday night. I think it could be quite level. I do expect Man City to get Champions League, and I do expect them to beat Fulham on the final day, but it's going to be a bit squeaky bum time for them, I think.
Absolutely. How did you watch that Palace game? I watched the first half. Marmoush, of course, missing a penalty, and De Bruyne having a stinker, playing in a weird role. Do we expect both of these guys to start? I personally am really concerned with KDB, to be honest. I don't think he will start. Again, last home game.
Because it's his last home game, though. There's a narrative there. Surely Pep buys into that, even with he's been such a legend. I think he comes off early, but I do expect him to start in the normal KDB role. That was the difference. Like we've seen in years gone by, KDB play the quarterback role, right? And we've seen it second half of games and move deep. To line up it as the quarterback in a midfield 2 with Bernardo Silva was weird. Like he's not played there all season. He's not played there all season. De Bruyne, in the last 2 seasons, has pretty much played as a number 9 or 10, like false 9. Like they've stopped De Bruyne doing the box to box because he doesn't have the legs anymore. In a competitive game where it's really pacey in this league, they've stopped De Bruyne doing all that running and all that defensive responsibility to have his quality in the final third. But for some reason, Pep thought against the back 5, he wanted a quarterback and he wanted to go really attacking with the 2 wingers, Savino, Doku, Marmoush, and Haaland. It was such an attacking lineup on paper. He won't do that again against Bournemouth. He'll learn his mistake. And if De Bruyne does start, it won't be as the quarterback. You can bet your bottom dollar. And I think we probably get De Bruyne as a number 10 with Haaland. And maybe Marmoush plays wide and it's not the 2 wingers, or Marmoush could be the one that drops out. I'm not so sure, but De Bruyne is surely going to start. I'm confident he does.
Yeah, it's mad how things have changed. This time last season, we were calling Phil Foden best player in the league by a stretch, maybe alongside Palmer. This time around, it doesn't look like he's going to get a sniff. I think you're right. There should be a narrative for De Bruyne getting this last game at home, but again, then we see with Aguero. He didn't start that last game, I don't think. So that's in the back of my mind.
But he was always Aguero wasn't in the first choice 11 when he retired. Aguero wasn't getting in the team. De Bruyne is in the first choice 11. Like the last 6, 7, 8 game weeks tell us that. So
no, that's fair. That's a fair argument.
I do think he comes off early for a standing ovation, but I'm just hoping that early isn't 65 minutes. I'm hoping it's 80 minutes. You know.
Yeah. Speak to me about what's his name? Penalties. Haaland giving the ball to Marmoush. That was a shock, to be honest.
You know, before the penalty's taken and there's VAR controversy, we keep seeing the player who's not taking the penalty. There's always like the captain or the second choice always holds the ball. So Haaland was holding the ball through all the VAR, and no one thought, is he going to pass it to someone else? But that is what teams are doing at the minute. So actually, we should have seen that and gone, he's going to hand it to someone, because why is De Bruyne not holding the ball to give it to Haaland or whoever? So yeah, he gives it to Marmoush, who has, by the way, got a really good record, Marmoush. But I'm shocked. I'm shocked at Haaland. That couldn't have been Haaland's decision. It must have been from Pep. So yeah,
I don't think it was a bad penalty either. It's just a really, really good save. Dean Henderson coming up clutch and really giving it to Pep. Do you think I think it's personally a confidence thing for Haaland. I think that's really unusual. Otherwise, if he's fit, banging in goals on a weekly basis, there's no chance he's giving that ball to anyone else.
Yeah, he's such. When you hear Haaland in interviews, I'd be surprised if he gave it up. I'm sure that must have come from Pep. But yeah, it could have been Pep not believing in Haaland's confidence. And you're right, it was a good pen. It was right in the corner. But they always say with pens, don't they? that height is the height
That height
goalkeepers
and
have a
where it was.
chance.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I think back to Haaland penalties, I can picture a ton of Haaland penalties where he sort of not scuffs is unfair. He doesn't get the cleanest strike, but it's always along the carpet, right? It's not a centimeter off the ground, or he goes high. I can't remember. Let us know in the chat many Haaland penalties where it's gone that sort of goalkeeper's height, savable height. But yeah, it was a cracking save. To be fair, Henderson had such a good game. I love the FA Cup final. I'm so glad for Palace.
Yeah, it's one of those penalties where if the keeper dives the wrong way, it looks really good. But again, that's just the
Yeah.
game. So let's move on from a team with a bird in their crest that just won a trophy. Liverpool, of course, with a bird in their crest that also won the Prem. We also have another team with a bird, the Magpies, Newcastle, who won the Carabao Cup. Spurs coming up on Wednesday. They also have a cockerel in their crest, Gianni. Speak to me about Wednesday, European final for United and Spurs. What are we thinking?
Oh, it's going to be some game. I really, really hope it's not like the time when Spurs were in the Champions League final where there's an early goal and it sort of kills it because the team that's gone up then just sort of is very happy just playing out that goal lead. I hope it's end to end. And the way both teams defend, you would assume it's going to be quite end to end. As we know, Spurs will only play one way, and I hope that makes for a really good attacking game. United of late, though, their defensive numbers have massively improved. It has to be said. United, even against Chelsea last time, like 10 days ago, like it was an all right United performance. They offered nothing in attack, but they were quite solid defensively, and it took a late Cucurella header for Chelsea to win it. So Spurs have got to go at them because we know Spurs' best way of defending in a way is just attacking. It's going, if you're going to score one, we're going to score two. So, mate, just like I was cheering Palace on, I'll be most neutrals will want Spurs to win this. I think United are favourites and probably rightly so, but I'll be hoping you can be solid enough defensively. You're certainly going to be good enough in attack. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued on the starting 11 from both teams. Does Sonny start? I think he probably does. But then what happens to the United 11? Like, has Mason Mount played his way in? I think he probably has. Is Højlund still going to be the 9? Because he's been dreadful of late, but I think he still gets the nod. Who's going to be the midfield pairing? Is Bruno going to be in a midfield 2 with Casemiro? Like, there's a lot of questions over the United 11. Does the Spurs 11 pick itself based on fitness?
I think so, yeah. I think we're likely going to see Richarlison play in a 10 role. Or on the left and Son in the 10. I'm unsure. Well, I think so, yeah. Like, I'll be surprised to see any team that's not Vicario, Porro, Van de Ven, Romero, Udogie, Bissouma, Bentancur, one of Tell, Son, Richarlison in the middle, and then Richarlison or Son on the left, with Johnson on the right and Solanke up top. I don't see any differentiations to that team. And I'd be
Sarr got a chance? Sarr's the only name you missed out there. Has he got a chance to start in a midfield 3 with Bissouma and Bentancur and no 10? Or is that unlikely?
No, so I think I remember vaguely us trying that versus City and we got absolutely smoked and people were giving out stink. It's one of those first managerial things that Ange done that got a lot of stick. I remember, I can't remember what game it was. So I don't think he'd go there again. Someone did pull up warming up, I think, in the last game. I can't remember who it was though. But yeah, no, I don't see it being Sarr. I'm a fan
came
of
off
Sarr.
as like a precautionary sub, and Basuma came on, didn't he? But and there was like, oh, is Sarr injured? But I think it was just precautionary, and he's fine. But
yeah. So I think it'll be that United. Again, I think Mount probably will start for him. I don't know what you think on that, Gianni.
yeah, I think he's played his way in because he scored a couple of goals in the semi? He played well against Chelsea. He offers them some goal threat, and he offers them a brilliant press from the front, which players like Garnacho don't really offer. I think Mount has played his way in, and Mount is one of those players, like, he is a big game player. I've seen Mason Mount in FA Cup finals play very well, but in the Champions League final, it was Mason Mount that got a beautiful assist for the Havertz goal that when Chelsea beat City 1-0 back in COVID. I think Mount's the biggest danger. Mount, obviously Bruno, but Bruno playing in a midfield 2, it feels offensively he can only do so much damage because he's so much deeper. So, yeah, Mount's the one to watch out for.
Yeah, if United want to win this game, they need Bruno to show up, and he often does, to be honest. I think For Spurs, what we need is Bentancur. I think he can get quite hot-headed in these type of games. And we lose a lot of control when a player like him is not on it. Same with Basuma, to be honest. But Basuma's more often not on it. I think I would rather Bentancur have a good game than Basuma, and I know the game will go well if that's the case, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think you're
So
right.
South Americans, Bentancur, Romero, you've got to keep them chill, haven't you?
Exactly, yeah. And I think going into these big games, they're the players that you want, Bentancur, Romero. Again, we don't have too much silverware to back Spurs up, but individually, some of these players do. Sonny with the Asian Cup, Bentancur has won it all in Italy, of course. And look, I think this is probably one of our best opportunities we've seen in a while. When I look back on finals, the Liverpool Champions League, the City Carabao Cup, I mean, these are none like I didn't fancy us in any of those games. I think this game out of all of those is our best chance.
Agreed.
And I think it can go either way.
It's a real coin toss, actually. I think it's probably a 55-45 if I was going to veer to someone to say Man United, but I really think Spurs have got a chance. Because United players aren't in a good way. Højlund's been poor. You know, Amad Diallo, is he going to start? Probably. He's now fit enough, but since Amad's been back, he's not been the same player as he was before. So it feels like you're playing United at a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like this narrative from the United fans though that Spurs are favourites because you pick more of our players. I just think United are definitely favourites this game. There's no way they aren't. The first thing, like Bruno, Casemiro, European final, definitely favourites. Spurs are 17th. Like, we are just as bad as they'll ever be, and they have a lot of players come back from injury as well. Now again, Spurs' team is just back as well. We've not had a run of games where we've looked great yet because we've been resting players now for Europe, but it'll be interesting to see how this almost fully fit Spurs team gets on in a massive game.
The bookies have got Spurs as the underdogs, as you'd expect. 12-5 for the draw, I quite like. Extra time, pens.
Not bad. You won't be surprised to see it go to extra time. If I were to envision it, I would say extra time, 1-1.
I tell you what, Vicario, can't picture him facing too many pens, but I'd quite fancy Vicario in a shootout. For
sure. He's fairly long and gangly.
Yeah. You want big keepers in shootouts. You know, Nana's not small, but Vicario, those long limbs.
Saying that though, I wouldn't fancy Spurs as penalty takers in a shootout. Son, Solanke. And other than that, I don't fancy anyone.
Yeah, I mean, Bentancur, I could imagine takes a good pen.
United have Casemiro, Maguire.
Brennan's taken pens.
Yeah, but in a European final, I think there's a bit like for me. You know what I mean? If Brennan's stepping up, I wouldn't trust him so much. I don't think anyway. Again, maybe I should have.
He's also he's not going to be on the pitch at 120 minutes. Players like Johnson will probably get a sub. So you've got to think who's going to be on the pitch at that point, right? You know, Richarlison's not going to play 120 minutes. He's just not, is he? So it's going to be interesting to see with pens. Like it's a lot of it is in the subs. You know, it's who comes on that can take a pen.
Yeah, Tell is going to have to come on and get us the winner, 5th pen. It's going to be interesting. Okay, let's move on from the European final. I am buzzing for that, by the way. I can't wait.
Yeah, good luck, man. I'll be thinking of you.
Good.
Are you watching it with your brother?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it with my brother and my granddad. So that'll be fun. I can't watch it with anyone else, I don't think. I'm not watching that game with United fans. I don't plan on it anyway. That's terrible. Anyway, going to my team for this game week. We don't expect any of the Crystal Palace lads to start, Gianni, do we?
Game week 37, I'd be shot. It's going to be a complete B team. I tell you what, there's a chance someone like Munoz starts, but the likes of Eze and Sarr, there's too many other fringe attacking players that need to be given a game, and knowing that they've got the European football now, there's nothing to play for Palace, and they've been partying. Maybe Munoz gets the start, but again, it could be Joel Ward. It'd be his last game at Selhurst Park, Joel Ward, but he's obviously not a wing back, so he could play right centre back, I guess. Munoz has got a chance, I'd say.
Yeah, Eze no chance though. What a performance!
Eze's not starting. Also, Palace aren't winning, so even if you get a Munoz start, I know Munoz is amazing. That Palace performance, whoever starts, ain't going to be great. There's going to be they've just the relief, the party mode, the lack of training and the days off. Their summer started. Wolves have had a rest. I know Wolves don't have much to play for either, but I expect Wolves to probably beat them. I'd make Wolves favourites.
And what about Liverpool and Dubai?
Yeah.
How are we feeling like they're a small bit on the beach as well, or will Salah still turn up? He don't drink.
Yeah, Salah's still the ultimate pro. I expect a good performance, but Slot did say we'll be all right against Brighton, but we'll be good on the final day. And that's very much what they're working towards. They're lifting the trophy against Palace in 38, and you bet your bottom dollar Slot's going to have them working, and they'll have a full week on the training ground this week after the game. I expect the Brighton game to be a bit lackluster, and the partying in Ibiza and Dubai could take it out of them a bit. But Gameweek 38, which is what many are watching for, I guess, Salah captain feels very obvious. They're lifting the trophy. He's going to want goals and assists at Anfield, but many will want to go different in 38 with the armband. So, yeah, I don't expect Liverpool to be great versus Brighton. I do expect them to be great versus Palace.
Okay, so we've got about 13 minutes left on this stream. Again, this is our last stream, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look at Game Week 38, how we're lining up and what my plans are. Then for the last maybe 5 or 10 minutes, Gianni, we will talk about next season. Let's talk about some prices, because we won't have a stream before we do or see any of the prices, I can't imagine. So in front of you, I've got my Game Week 38 team. Looking kind of solid at the back. We've got double Arsenal defence, providing they both start, versus Southampton, Raya and Saliba. We've got Ruben Diaz and Byrne. And then 4 in the middle, we've got Rodgers, De Bruyne, Mbuemo, Palmer. 3 up top in Wood, Marmoush, Isaac. And on the bench we have Sarr, Konsa, Munoz and Martinez. Again, I don't like my team for this game week. I think on paper a lot of away games there. Saliba mightn't play. A top 5 battle with Wood, Palmer, City assets, Isaac who mightn't play. What is the story with Isaac, Gianni? I've not been following, to be honest.
Yeah, he felt his groin the day before the Arsenal game. He still travelled down to Arsenal to London, but they didn't risk him, so he didn't make the match day squad. I think they didn't risk him because they know if they're only going to get one game out of him, they need him at home versus Everton, because at home versus Everton is the must-win game. It is a groin issue that he's had, and there has been murmurings and rumours that he might need surgery on that groin this summer. So he's been playing injured for the last few weeks. He's been managing it. You can tell. Like, Isak's not been great of late. We've all gone, oh, Isak's not great. I don't think he's been perfect the last couple of months. And players play injured all the time, but I think there's this ongoing issue with his groin. And if they were going to pick a game, which one to play him in, it's the game against Arsenal, which we're probably going to lose, or the game against Everton, which we need to win. And we've got a real chance of winning at St James's Park. So I think he's not been risked. I don't expect him to train much this week. It'll be light work. And I think, mate, even though he's not 100%, I think he's a brilliant captaincy option versus Everton for you.
Do you fancy your chances versus Forest? I assume so, as a Chelsea fan.
We're not the best team away from home, you know. And Forest look quite, I mean, it was only West Ham, but going to the City ground's not easy. It's a tough place to go. I expect Chelsea to get the job done but it's going to be so tight. I don't think I'd be given, I wouldn't consider Palmer with the armband, not going to lie.
Yeah, I don't think I will be either. But saying that, other than Isaac, I don't really have many options.
Isak's a great option, isn't he? Yeah. Isak is a great option for you. And then there's De Bruyne, his last game in a City shirt. But again, away from home, City, and De Bruyne's not been great. What about Mbuemo, mate? Away to Wolves. How do you see that one going?
I don't know if I can do that. I just feel like that's less exciting than a bigger name, Isaac, Palmer, De Bruyne. You know what I mean? That's just
mate, you need to buy a captain. You need to buy a captain. Whoever your transfer
what I was thinking.
Needs to be your captain.
That's exactly.
So you're going to buy a Jarrod
thinking.
Bowen? Are you going to buy a Trossard or a Martinelli? Like, it's going to be a punt who you're going to give the arm. I can see it. Look
exactly.
At your
That's
team.
right down my alley, Gianni. And the one I was thinking is an Arsenal asset versus Southampton. Yeah. So I assume we're going to get a leak before a lot of these kickoffs, like we always do every season. If I get a leak that one of the cheaper guys like Trossard or maybe a Martinelli is starting, I prefer a Trossard for sure. The armband will for sure go on them. I don't think I'll be going elsewhere. Again, with the minutes thing with De Bruyne, tough game for Palmer. and Isaac doubts. Other than that, Bowen is a shout. I don't mind it,
Yeah.
but I just think there's a lot to grab in that Southampton fixture, and Southampton have looked so poor for so many weeks now. Last game of the season for Arsenal where they've won nothing again. Hopefully put in a big performance.
Mate, I think like we say Gameweek 38 for some teams are on the beach, whatever. We have to remember there is, I think it's around 500,000 extra per every table in the place in the table you are. Like even clubs like Arsenal, 500,000 matters, right? But Arsenal have wrapped up second now. So it's not like they've got to go to Southampton and go, oh, we need to keep second. They are finishing second. It's set in stone. So Arsenal could, and Arteta's quote yesterday post-match, he said about time for the beach and stuff like that. Like, I think he's going to give some players time off. I don't know if we're going to see Saliba, Raya, Saka, popular FPL assets. I'm not sure we're even going to see in Gameweek 38, guys. Like, I think we might see Raheem Sterling starting a football match. I think we might see Wanieri starting a football match. So those punts might not be for players we assumed we'd be buying. Like, I always thought I'll bring in Saka in 38 and captain him. I ain't sure Saka's going to start. In fact, I think he probably won't. Now, we will get leaks, I think. But if we don't risk it. Like, don't go buying a Saka because there's every chance he doesn't play. Someone like a Raheem Sterling genuinely will play. Like, in the last game of the Champions League group stages, Arsenal had wrapped up whatever spot they had. And I play UCL Fantasy. I bought in Sterling. And it was just like, I knew he'd start. And he did. I think he got a couple of goals. But, like, we can have fun with this.
And that's what we're all about. Last season, I sucked captaincy on Raheem Sterling for 38 points. And if I get a league that he's starting, I'd definitely do it again. Kai Havertz, a few people are saying in chat. Let's
Sterling,
see.
He's listed as a midfielder, I guess. He's 6.7 million.
Let's see. Another good option though is the Bournemouth guys. Evan Nilsson, definitely high up on my list also. For who though, I'm unsure. I wouldn't want to get rid of a Chris Wood or a Marmouche, and I'd be hopeful of a Isaac. So I don't think I'll go down that route. I could go with one midfielders, but again, with an Arsenal asset potentially, definitely priority over a Bournemouth one for me. Gianni, that's enough on my Game Week 38 team. I think people are sick of looking at my team at this point. It's been 38 game weeks of absolute mid rank, I guess. 120k now. For so many weeks, we were in the top 2 million, which was a tough run, but out of it now and almost inside the top 100k, hoping for a top 100k finish. Speak to me. What do you want to see at the start of next season? Rule changes or players or prices? Make some predictions.
I would love to see some tweaks. I don't think we'll get any. I think the rules will be exactly the same next season because the changes within FPL, I expect maybe this next season after we see some tweaks. I think they could tweak the assistant manager chip. I think they've bought it out. They've seen it's probably popular, but also I think they've probably seen the value of it is a bit too high. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that pegged back a bit, where the ceiling for the assistant manager chip isn't 50, 60 points, it's 30 points. And whether they do that by possibly making it a 2-week thing, not a 3-week thing, I don't know. They could change that, but I don't see any other big changes. What I hope they do, though, mate, I hope they continue following suit with what they did last year, where they make the premiums really expensive. And I would love a really expensive Haaland, but also Mo Salah needs to. If Haaland started the season at 15 million this season, why can't Salah start the same next? So I want Salah and Haaland both crazy high, and probably increases for a few others as well. So it's going to be interesting.
I'm in agreement with that. I think the main question for both of us is, well, I'll ask you first. Are you going to change the way you play at all coming into the start of next season? Again, we have a few months off before we get the season again, and I know me and you both stand firmly with how we play this game. A lot of people won't agree with how I play. Somehow, I think decently near the top 100k, even though the season has gone quite poorly. I have no regrets at how I've played it at all. What are your thoughts going into next season?
Mate, as my job, which is as a content creator, and to talk about FPL as much as I do talk about it, which is hours and hours a week, right, on air and written reports and TV and stuff like that, I don't think I could do it playing safe, playing boring, playing template. I think it would bore me to death. I've never tried it where I've done a whole season of it. I go through phases, don't get me wrong, of playing template. We all do. And sometimes I just pick template players like the rest of us. But I can't see me changing my core values, even if it makes me a better FPL manager and gets me a slightly better rank, because it doesn't entertain me in the same way. And I think that's probably my biggest downfall as a manager. And I know I'm not the world's greatest manager, and I know I should and could be better. And I know I'd have better ranks if I played a little bit safer and considered EO and a little bit more boring with the armband. And if in game week 6, when everyone sells Haaland and buys Salah, I do the same. But that's just not me. I'm going to continue probably playing my own game. At times that'll be template, at times it'll be more risky. But that is the only way I enjoy the game. And I love my job. It's the best job in the world, but I don't think it would be if I played in a way that's not natural to me.
Yeah, you'd be doing a fake job then, I guess. No,
yeah, and it might get me better ranks, it might get me better views, it definitely won't get me the stick I get, but I won't enjoy it.
But does a bit of your heart, Gianni, not say, I'd love to shut up those people who are criticizing me on a weekly basis about my rank? Is there that dog inside you that kind of just wants to show up for a season, even if it sacrifices your playing style just for one season?
No, because then that would look like, and that would assume that they'd had an impact on me, my life, the way I play. And God, there isn't that. Like,
no,
you know what I mean?
I just mean
I'd have to actually care enough. And look, don't get me wrong. Like, I get tagged in stuff and I get sent stuff. I consciously don't view certain things, but you can't always avoid it on X. But Christ, nah, mate, these little empty, unhappy people can't like penetrate my positive, happy, normal way of approach to life and FPL. Like, so no, mate, I won't be changing for. I could change for some people. Don't get me wrong, but I certainly wouldn't change for a troll.
No, I absolutely agree, and you're right too, and I'd stand firmly on that. I don't care, to be honest, either. If I'm in 100k, 50k, top 10 like last season, I love how I play. Again, I've been a small bit less engaged this season because college work and stuff. So, but next season, I'm not changing a thing, and I'm gonna enjoy it like I always do. Bob says his task for next year is a lesson to learn: stop the hits on transfers. I took far too many and probably cost him 100 points overall. Wow. Gianni, that's an average of 30 hits. what is going on there?
Yeah, man, it's hits. I've taken too many hits this year. That is one thing I do want to do next year. I want to take fewer hits. I've been a bit too aggressive, taking too many hits. So yeah, I think the optimal amount of hits per season with doubles and stuff. There's probably like the best managers in the world probably take five hits a season, 6 hits a season, not 10, 20, 30. And I've probably taken 12, 13, 15, I don't know, too many this year. Just reading the comments. Thank you, guys. Don't change, guys. It's the hair, Gianni. Most of the men who are balding or bald are the ones mad with you. Maybe. Do you know, the reason why most people hate me is the fact that I am able to make a job and a career out of FPL that is beyond just X or YouTube. I'm on TV talking about the game that a lot of people love, and some people don't like that. And I'll go, why is he on TV? I've got a better rank than him. That's not fair. It's like, no, dude, it's not about just your rank. Like, to be on TV and talk about the game, you've got to, one, put in a ton of hard work to get there, but two, you've got to offer more than just, oh, I've got a good rank history, I'm having a good season. You've got to be good at a lot of other things on camera or whatever. So yeah, I find that really interesting. I tell you what, who would make me change my game? You asked me, would I change my game for anyone? And I said I would for some people, but not for the trials. I would if a TV producer said to me, you can't come on Sky Sports News or you can't come on the fantasy show because you're playing too loose and your rank's not good enough. That would make me change my game.
That would be
in a heartbeat.
That would be wild, wouldn't it? And I'd love to see that. Only because I think that'd be so interesting for you. And you know what? You might get a call after this saying, you know what, we might get more views if I'm joking.
You know, I've actually had conversations with producers where I've been having rubbish seasons and I've gone, oh, is this going to affect me? Like, it's pretty embarrassing, isn't it? Me having to put my rank up on the big screen at Sky Sports News, wherever, if I'm having a bad season, and you're calling me this expert. Like, is that all right? And they're like, no, like we don't care about your, like, sure, if you continually have bad ranks, it's going to be a problem. But it's like, no, a lot of the other experts or pundits might play safe, right? So it's always nice having a different opinion. If I go on and go, I'm going to captain Salah this week, and the guy next to me on the sofa says the same thing, it's pretty bloody boring. So I think many quite like the fact that I play quite different. It offers an alternative opinion anyway. But yeah, consistently, you got to have good enough ranks to justify it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're after hitting the 40-minute mark for the last
I feel like
time
this has
season.
turned into a Gianni counselling session, mate. Thank you for the probing questions.
No worries. It's good to see how you'll approach next season. Gianni,
yeah, I should be grilling you. This is your show. I'm sorry if it's turned into mine, guys. You must be sick of listening to me. But
I'll have to take the heat off me for how my seasons went.
Well, are you going to change the way you play?
Absolutely not. Again, I'm disappointed with the rank this season, but to be honest, not actually too bad. I mean, again, like I said, I've won a lot of the mini leagues that I'm in. And 100k overall in terms of things, Gianni. Again, the goal every year is top 10k. I guess for a content creator, I should be a bit closer to top 50k. Again, I don't know if you agree with that, and you probably don't. But for how engaged we are, maybe it's reasonable. I think I've had a poor season, and next year, I've no doubt I'll do better.
Mate, you've got a team with no Ollie Watkins, with no Mo Salah, with no Gvardiol. Like, fair play, because you've got good rank. It's not great, it's good. And you've played it a very different way. And I think that's really interesting. And because of that, you're watchable. So, yeah, I mean, you're watchable for many reasons, but it makes your content more interesting, I think. So, yeah, I don't need to watch content on YouTube channels to be told to captain Salah each week and buy Gvardiol and Saliba. You know, so I think it's interesting.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I hope we continue to stream on Sundays next season.
Yeah,
Let's
me
see
too.
If Scout will have us back.
Hopefully we'll have a very controversial team selection next season. Me versus you. Maybe that's what we should do rather than me.
That'd be cool. Yeah. And we should add a feature of something like punt of the week, and then like you have to pick a sub 10% owned player to bang, and then we tot up their points throughout the season or something. Like who's your punt of the week, who's mine?
Yeah, that's a really good
do something like that. Could be fun, because I think we are seen as two of the sort of content creators amongst the Scout network that do like a punt. So yeah, that'd be cool. We should do that. But guys, if you've enjoyed the stream or our streams all season, please hit the like button and subscribe to Scout. We would love you to just show your support by hitting the like and boosting the algorithm.
Yeah, for the last time, everyone, thank you again. Do reach out to us if you want to see these streams continue. Again, I've enjoyed it every single week, Gianni. I don't know about yourself, and it's been a tough season in terms of rank, but I hope that's not the only thing you guys are here for. And again, for the last time, goodbye.
Cheers, guys.